Likutei Halachot, Orach Chaim 113. V'zeh bechinat, this is the aspect of Kachatzot halayla ani yotzeh b'toch Mitzrayim. Before we talked about David HaMelech, that he got up at midnight, but the Torah has the source of midnight from Yetziat Mitzrayim, which we talked about. So we're pulling up this pasuk now, where Hashem said around midnight, which meant midnight, Hashem is going to go and kill all the firstborn. Kachatzot daika, specifically midnight. Ki b'chatzot halayla, because the idea of midnight is like breaking the night in the middle of it. Az me'orer hanekuda tova. That's when we're going to arouse the good point. B'bchinat ruach tzafon, which is the aspect again of the northern wind, hamenashev bekinor shel David, which played on the kinor of David. Ve'al ken nimshach haruach tova, hanekuda tova mitzafon daika, which means specifically now the good point comes out from the tzafon, which is the north or the hidden. That's where the nekuda comes from, like the pasuk says in Yirmiyah, ki mitzafon tipatach hara'ah. From the north, the evil comes out. Umisham daika nimshach haruach tzafon, and it's from there that again is the ruach tzafon, because it's from the evil that we now make it good. So that's why it's from the evil, but then it turns good. You can even play on the words where it says mitzafon tipatach, from the north, which is already finding good. We can say Hashem sefatai tiftach, which is again praying, and get out of hara'ah. Just to play with the words, mitzafon tipatach, from hara'ah. Umisham daika nimshach ruach tzafon, ruach tova. The good ruach again comes specifically from there. Hamnashev b'kinor shel David u'minagen. That is playing on the harp of David and again playing music. So it means it's the good things, good points are coming out. Like our music, from our being depressed, we make music. Ki ze ikar ma'alat hatov hayotze mitoch tokef hara v'sitra achra. Because this is the main way that you get the good out, which is to get it and extract it from the evil, from the sitra achra. And this way you specifically get the songs. Kamuva b'sefarim, like it says in different books, and Kohelet it says, Sheyitron ha'or min ha'choshech, daika kayadua, which means the main benefit of light is when it comes from the darkness. And a great example is, if you're in a dark room, it becomes very bright when you open the light, even though in the daytime that same light is not as strong to you. So it just shows when light comes from the darkness, it's a brighter and a greater light. That's really the point it's trying to make here. Ki b'chatzot az hashechina kevayachol b'tachlit hamiut kayadua. That's why midnight specifically is when we're saying is the time to get up and pray. Of course at dawn and say shachrit, but even to pray at midnight, to say tikkun chatzot, is very important, because that's when the Shekhinah is at its lowest peak, its lowest point. Because we know that midnight is really, once midnight hits, even though we didn't get to day yet, since it's on its way to becoming day, it's already as though it's growing. But it's at the lowest point right at midnight, and it's already on its way up. So that's why midnight is already on the way up. And you go up by finding the good point, just like the Shekhinah's good point, in that sense that it's only a dot at that time, so to speak, like it said, Kevayachol. Vaz hi bechinat nekuda, it's just like a little dot at that time. Vaz hu hitgaberut hashena, that's why sleep is taking over at that time. It's usually the most comfortable time to sleep is like midnight. That's why we want to break it. And we want to break the depression, because it's the best time to be depressed, which is in the middle of the night, which means in the middle and in the greatest part of our problems and our exile. It's the greatest time that we might feel depressed, so we have to get out of it. And then specifically at that time, everyone who has a yirat Hashem in his heart, fear of God, He has to fight very strongly, lit'orer mashena az, to get out of his sleep then. וזה בחינת שמתעוררים מתוקף השינה וסטרא אחרא על ידי נקודת טובה לבד. And this is what we mean, that we have to mit'orer ourselves, awaken ourselves spiritually from the stronghold, the tokef of the sleep and the sitra achra, the evil, by seeing even one good point, which means that I'm worth it and I can do good, and not talking down and not talking in a depressed way. Kanal ve'az hu b'chinat Yitziat Mitzrayim, and this is what Yitziat Mitzrayim was all about. That's why it came about at midnight, because at midnight Hashem passed over us and killed the Egyptians, but we were also at that point like them, because it says, we were also on the 49th level, but he skipped over us because he looked at our good points and he saw it that we were meritorious to be saved. So you see again, midnight and getting out of the evil is what Yitziat Mitzrayim was all about. So while midnight is the lowest point because Hashem is now killing the bad people, he's also looking at the good points of who has any, which was us, the Jews. So you see, midnight has that idea of it. That's why we want to get up and praise Hashem at midnight, and then he'll look at our good points for the next day and for the whole year. That's the benefit of getting up at midnight. V'zeh b'chinat Pesach, this is what Pesach is all about. Shechamal v'dileg Hashem yitbarach al batei b'nei Israel, because Hashem again had mercy on us and skipped over our houses, benokpot Mitzrayim, like it says in the Pasuk, v'zeh b'chinat sheHashem yitbarach berachamav liket v'itzil et hanekudot tovot. Like we said, Hashem in His mercy, He saw the good points of us, and therefore He skipped over our houses. Shehem b'chinot Yisrael, b'chinot beni bechori Yisrael, because we are the firstborn of Hashem. Meben bechore Mitzrayim, that He took us out from the firstborn of Egypt. Meaning again, taking the good point and extracting it from the evil. So Hashem took us, the Bechor, the firstborn, from the Bechor of evil, which was really Mitzrayim. They're called the Bechor of evil. But then we switched to be the Bechor, which was Israel. Meben tokef ha-sitra achra, again to take us from the evil of the sitra achra, shezeh haya ikar geulat Mitzrayim, that this was the main point of the redemption of Egypt. And again, of our personal redemption, for our personal Mitzrayim, this is our redemption. Ve'al ken harishon shegila sod chatzot, therefore the first person who revealed the idea or the secret of midday or midnight, haya Avraham Avinu, was Avraham Avinu, alav shalom. When be'et shenelcham im hamelachim vehitzil et Lot, when he went to war with the 4 kings and the 5 kings, and he went to save Lot. Kemo shekatuv, it says in Bereshit 14, vayechalek alehem laila, when it was, that time of the war, it says that the night was divided. So again, split, like lechalek, vayechalek alehem laila, meaning midnight. It was midnight, ki ikar bechinot chatzot, because it's the main thing was chatzot, the hainu, the shaber tokef hashena, which is to conquer the deep sleep, the shaber halayla ve'achoshech, which is the night and the darkness. Again, to conquer it, to conquer the sleep and to break the sleep. So we're breaking midnight. That's what it means to lechalek, again, to break, to split. Al dei nekudat tova, by finding the good point. Zen asa rak al yedei bechinat Abraham isha chesed. And that's why Avraham Avinu is the one doing it here, because he's the chesed man, and we said it's the chesed which is on the right, and al yedei shemateh klepeh chesed, because when you lean to the right and you judge yourself and others favorably, that is you finding the good point. And that is how you then divide or split the night, so to speak. So all this is coming back to show us that Avraham Avinu, he explained this whole idea of midnight already in the Torah from the beginning, Parashiyot of Bereshit. We have it already. Ki Avraham radaf acharei hamelachim, because Avraham ran after those kings, the 4 kings who were fighting the 5 kings. The 4 kings took Lot. And he went להציל את Lot, to save him, בשביל הנקודה טובה שהיה בלוט, because of the little good that was in Lot, which was, we'll see, ועל כן, אף על פי שלוט היה רשע, even though Lot was a rasha, because he separated from Abraham later, he went to Sodom, that's where he wanted to live. So you see his whole attitude was not really righteous. But Masar Abraham nafsho b'shvilo latzilo. Abraham went to war and risked his life to save him. B'shvil nekudat tova shayabo, because of the little good that was in him, which is ki mimenu yatsa Rut. Rut sheyatsa mimena David Mashiach, because David HaMelech that came from Rut was already, this was hiding in Lot, from Lot being with his daughter, Moab came that. So that was the good that was to come later. The little good inside of Lot was Ruth. She's that good point. Shehu ikar v'shoresh nekudat tova. That is the main good point, is Ruth. And then came David, the David HaMelech, which we call him the Mashiach. The Mashiach will be a reincarnate, they say, of David himself. That's why they say Adam. It'll be Adam, which is Aleph, Adam himself, Adam Rishon, the first man, and then Dalid is David, and then Mem for Adam is Mashiach. So all these are going to be the same soul. And that's why David was given years of life, 70 years from Adam, because since he had to give himself life or he's not going to be able to live. So Adam gave life to his next reincarnation. And then, of course, Mashiach is going to be the last, which hopefully he'll come soon. The main kavanah of the kings was to kill Lot. Now we know that the kings had another agenda. They were fighting the 5 kings. That was their agenda, to take over the property, whatever it is. This was a world war, 4 and 5 kings. So what do you mean just to take one man? That was the whole goal. So it means this, the next line, Ki kol kavanat hasitra achara hu litgaber al bechinat nekudat tova chas v'shalom. It was the Satan's intention to stir up this whole war and make all the Yetzer Hara of them, was just so that he can capture Lot and capture that good point in him, which is Ruth, and then stop Ruth and stop Mashiach. All this was just for that. Of course, the kings were with their Yetzer Hara. They wanted to fight for money and property and all that. But the Satan had one thing in mind, which was to take Lot. And Abraham Avinu knew that. That's why he risked his life to save him. Aval Hashem lo ya'azvenna biyadam. Hashem didn't leave it, let go of it in their hands, meaning the good. V'natan koach libchinat Abraham, and he gave the strength to the idea of Abraham, b'chinat chesed, to make him a person of chesed, like we know Abraham on the right and chesed. So Hashem designed it like that. Lehatzil et Lot al yidei nekudat tova sheyesh bo. It takes an Abraham who's connected to the side of chesed to save the good point of Lot, like we said, because it's all about the chesed. So Hashem already set it up by making Abraham be the one to save Lot. It could have been that, let's say for whatever reasons, if Yitzchak was already born, maybe Hashem would tell Yitzchak to do it, but he'd be on the wrong side. He's on the side of Gevurah. So again, just to show, Hashem already planned Abraham to be there, and he was built on the side of chesed, and he'd be the appropriate one to save Lot and then save Mashiach. So everything's a setup. Even though we think we go through things, Hashem already puts us there in the situation, and of course we have to use our free will to do the right thing. And because of that, he killed the kings. Because by finding the good point, even in the evil people like Lot, he was able to subdue the evil, the sitra achra, the Satan, because you can push away evil with even just a little good, meaning the little spark of good or the little good point can push away all the evil that a person has done. Which means, again, in our own situation, all the evil that we did doesn't have to overpower us for us to give up The one piece of good that we did can be enough for us to concentrate on it and then not think about all the evil that we did and just move in with teshuvah with that. Many people are down, like we said. They think, what am I going to do now? Start to go to shul. I never went to shul before. Now I'm going to start. So again, he's filled with years of bad, meaning that he doesn't pray or he doesn't go to shul. And if he just thinks of the little time that he did maybe go, even when he was younger or something, or had a bar mitzvah, he could think of something and go on that and say, all right, I'm going to continue now from that. You have to find a starting point, and then you don't feel that you're really not worth doing all that needs to be done from here and on. And that's how you do it. So a little bit of the good can push away all your feelings and your guilt of all the bad that you did. Of course, you have to, again, do the good and continue to do good. And then you'll have a real teshuvah, be'ezrat Hashem.